this message that, you know, there are small little things that you cannot actually make religion a bar. There are so many, let us digress from myths. Let me ask you, there are important people in the audience, and I have got the presence of Rupok Borua and Mrs. Bansal as CEOs of two big hospitals. My question to you is, you have two big intensive care units in this city, major. Do you see this movement of deceased organ donation proliferating, and have you actually seriously thought about it? And are you positively taking any measures to encourage in the way of, say, training your own staff, training your nurses, training your doctors? And what do you see the future as? Either of you or both of you? Oye, ¿sí, okay?
Rightly you have asked these questions. In terms of the private hospitals, actually, if you see that we are not yet prepared. In terms of this organ transplant, if you say...
what I'm saying is, you are running a very vibrant intensive care.
We are running a very high number of intensive care units. That's why I'm saying that we are not prepared. And in terms of your coordinator, as a whole, I'm just able to see in a strategic way how to convince the patient's relatives, how to convince this. Yes, of course, we are not yet ready, we are not yet prepared. But the question is that, yes, of course, it's a very important kind of a story that we should take care of this part. And definitely, we'll take up many issues whenever we are talking about from the private hospital.
Can I ask Mrs. Bansal also to be... Can you please be a little bit more quick on the microphone? Have you got another microphone?
I'm Dr. Shanti. Dr. Amit, what you said is absolutely right. And as far as CK Birla Hospitals is concerned, we are driving this on. And I need support from Dr. Aditi Kishore and Mr. Solomon, because I'll be coming back to you guys to support us on a heart transplant program. We are moving towards this. I would be liking support from this Mohan Foundation as well to train my coordinators. We have already listed it. We are going to roll out this strategic program when I'll be requiring the support of all you guys. And we are strategically doing it. And within, say, 2 years' time, Kolkata should see a cardiac transplant happen.
Would you support the movement from Bengal Chamber that we are trying to create a common platform so that we don't duplicate efforts?
Absolutely,
We would like you to be a part of our task force that we had set out to do, so that, you know, individual efforts as opposed to collective efforts, I think there will be a difference.
So I think BCCI should be, the Bengal Chamber of Commerce, can be the landing ground, common platform wherein we can start working towards it, educating and creating awareness among the public about it, because that is very important. We have got those cultural roadblocks which we need to break and go ahead here. Like Tamil Nadu has achieved it. I'm really proud of our country. We are doing a lot of things which maybe other countries are not doing in spite of technically being advanced than us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We have got a very senior cardiac surgeon with us. Can we take advantage? Dr. Taposh Raychaudhuri is with us and has spent a lot of time and is very energetic about this concept of organ transplantation. Dr. Raychaudhuri, could you enlighten us as to what you visualize as the future of cardiac transplantation, and have you taken any initial steps, and will you cooperate with the Bengal Chamber to create a common platform?
We are very hopeful. I think first of all I like to congratulate personally you as well as Bengal Chamber of Commerce to organize this kind of platform for awareness. You see, the one principal difference between renal transplantation and cardiac transplantation is, for renal, we have got a huge number of waiting recipients. And to build up your recipients for cardiac transplantation is not easy. Personally, now I work for a hospital group who are pioneer, actually has done the largest number of cardiac transplantation in India so far. the leading group. And our training program is almost locked in with them. Our team's been there. I have been several times. And also I visited Mohan Foundation's office in Chennai. So we are slightly ahead. Met Mr. Dr. Aditi Kishore Ghosh several times. What I eventually, I think, as far as cardiac transplantation is concerned, I think the build up a recipient block is much more important, much more difficult than even eventually getting a donor. You see, if everybody this Cadaver Daan program or the awareness is gets up well, then with a big number of intensive care beds in most of these hospitals like Apollo, Sekibirla Group, Emory Group, there will be, I mean, and of course the government hospital will have brain death patients. As far as the local training is concerned, obviously, as I said, we are a little ahead. All our intensive care nurses and some of the people are being trained about brain death awareness, and we are gradually getting there. So I think the awareness is very important.
Thank you.
We should all work together.
Thank you very much. We have got Professor Sandeepa Bhatt and Dr. Madhumanti Sadhya with us. Are they here with us still? There are many legal issues regarding this, and you are representing NUJS and very kindly have sat through the whole conference today. Let us put our hands together. They have brought out a book which addresses legal issues in medicine, in particular emphasis to organ transplantation. We would like to launch this book with our celebrity guest arrived. We will do that in a moment. But do you see any major impediments legally that we need to tackle in Calcutta in particular?
Good evening to all of you. It's a pleasure to be part of this particular conference. In fact, actually, the fact that actually the organizers could not gauge the number of participants for this particular program itself shows the success story of the program. So I should congratulate Dr. Amit Ghosh for such a successful program. As far as the legal impediments is concerned, I don't think actually we are having any major legal impediments in the cadaver donations, but whereas actually the living organ donation is concerned, we are having the impediments. Of course, I believe that actually both the living organ donation as well as the cadaver donation need to be promoted. I have a reason for this. Recently, I had been to Seoul for a conference, which was primarily on the medical law, and one of the papers which has been presented therein was by actually the Dean of the Yuva Women's University, Professor Wan Brook Lee, who basically presented on actually how successful the living organ donation is in South Korea. There has been actually, governmental intervention, of course. It is not actually the private the players who are taking care of that. But the government, with the governmental intervention, it has been very successful and working as the model for maybe the rest of the world with respect to the living organ donations. But on the other hand, we have already got some kind of actually negative experiences out of the living organ donation in India. So probably the cadaver donation is something which is better suited for a domain like India. Again, I have an example with respect to the cadaver donation, that is Spain, Belgium, and Austria.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, when Dr. Jha basically made a presentation, he gave a statistic of actually the Spain and Belgium, who are actually topping in the list. But in fact, actually, that should be the little old statistics, because now actually they have got an opt-out system. Yeah. So consequent to that, whoever is actually is not willing to donate after the death has to opt out from the program. So given that factor, that change has resulted in actually the more and more organ donations automatically, and there is actually the surplus organ available in these countries. So, one of the things which we can think in terms of with respect to the cadaver donation is to go for this opt-out model instead of the current opt-in model which we are having in India. And I mean, probably actually that is also witnessed in actually the answer to the question which Dr. Shroff has basically asked all of us. I mean, when he asked actually how many of us have donated, very few of us actually raised a hand. When he asked actually how many of us are interested in donation or how many of us support the donation, almost everyone except very few have raised the hand. This clearly shows that actually we are all pro-promotion. But only thing is that actually we are not having that instinct to go and write it down and say that actually I'm going to donate the organ. So in light of that, I would say that actually if there is a change in the policy and if we go for actually the opt-out model, and I'm sure that actually most of us who basically raised our hand would not go and say that actually we are opting out from this particular program. So that would definitely serve actually our purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. My final question would be to Professor Bhabatosh বিশ্বাস. He happens to be the Vice Chancellor of the West Bengal Health University. My appeal to him is, and my question as well, I think somewhere down the line, when we are still young, we need to be made aware compulsorily about what donation is. That is one of the very important steps in medical education. I'll give you another corollary. There are so many incidents today all over India about bashing doctors. And one of the things that is coming into the curriculum and should come is good communication into the curriculum as a curricular activity as to how do you speak to patients, how do you speak to your own administration, how do you speak to your non-medical staff. If that can happen, do you think, Professor Biswas, that we can actually some point of time inculcate this within our system, at least in the medical fraternity? And certainly I will appeal to colleges like St. Xavier's and others, Bhawanipur College, if they can come and put their right foot forward and put a local syllabus into this so that we can promote this idea of organ donation. Professor Bhabatosh বিশ্বাস.
You have raised a very pertinent issue. This is absolutely correct statement that syllabus is not rigid. Medical education is absolutely dynamic. So medical council or health councils, nursing council, dental council, they have set minimum standard. It is not that you can go beyond that. It is expected that you maintain the minimum, then you go on adding. Communication skill has been inducted as a part of curriculum, and it is tested either formally or informally. In English colleges, it is a part of examination. In our system, it is given importance, not written as a component. But say, if you go for national board examination, the component of marking sent to examiners, it contains the communication skill. So we instruct our examiners in meetings, in across the table discussion. The communication is given due importance while teaching an examination. So communication skill is getting taken care of. And what is my feeling, just coming here, just before that, I was in another program relating to donation. There it was discussed, and I thought that organ donation related issues should start from the very beginning of the medical curriculum. Yes. You induct in anatomy, physiology, medicine. Medical council doesn't prevent you from doing that. It is, we must educate ourselves, we must be careful, and we are talking to our teachers and examiners and board of studies members, and I invite all of you who can contribute, please come, give your suggestion, come to university, we are going to induct it. It's very pertinent issue you have raised.
Thank you. Can I ask, you have sat through the whole conference, we've nearly come to the end of it. Any questions that you want to ask the panel? Yes, sir.
Well, my name is Professor R.C. Bhattacharya from Globe State Business School. I'm glad that I came. I wasn't aware of this at all. My chairman said, why don't you go? Because we have a donee here. But now I am saying we would be quite prepared to be a facilitator in this process with Bengal Chamber. And we have a Kalyani Foundation. All our students will be prepared to help in the, this knowledge, the message to go on. So we are very much for you. And if you want our services, we are there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, yes. Please identify yourself before you talk. Okay, okay.
Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Pavan Gupta from Army Institute of Management.
Okay.
So my point is, we have discussed quite a few technical aspects. With due respect to all the experience and profession, I would like to touch upon some human aspects that has been missed in this conference. The time of point at which the main decision has to be taken, that is when the patient is brain dead and the relatives or the family members have to take the decision to donate the organ. At that time, as I have faced this situation myself very closely, so I would like to put forward 2 or 3 points upon this. First is, what comes in the mind of the person is the family thinks if they agree for the donation, the doctor will not put much effort, that is the 100% effort into saving the life of the patient. So this is the very first thing, mentality that comes into the mind of the relative.
Let's answer
right?
one question at a time. Dr. Lakshmi Narayan, would you like to respond to that?
Yes, certainly. In fact, the question of organ donation comes only after brainstem death is certified. At that point of time, nobody talking about organ donation. In fact, this is one of my requests to Dr. Aditi Kishore Sharkar, who is sitting next to me. One of the main requirements that we need to have is to make certification of brainstem death mandatory on all those situations where such a situation arises, irrespective of whether this translates into organ donation or not. After that only, when the family is convinced that there is nothing more left to be done for the potential donor, only then the question of donation comes up. So therefore, this question should be actually answered in that fashion.
Thank you. My second point is the hope of the family that the patient will recover. Again, the same point actually. We just had a recent example that a girl who was suffering from cancer, she wanted her body to be frozen because of the hope that in future the technology will come and her disease can be cured and she can come back into this world, right? So what Mr. Shroff said, that we should have proper coordinators, donation coordinators. It is very important, I guess, to coordinate that time. It should be a very good communication with the patient and with the relative and the family members to convince them and pacify them that yes, the patient is dead and they cannot come back. So this is one of the main reasons why people resist in donating the organs, right? So this was my second point. And the third is one of the myths, as sir said, there are 101 myths. One of the major myths is the myth of disfiguring of the body. Disfiguring of the body and the change, the way it looks. It is one of the myths that people, the relatives think that the body will disfigure because of the organ donation. That's why they don't go for it, right?
Sunil, would you like to respond to that? Very well, very common questions, and I think I'm glad that you raised these topics, and that shows that you've actually not slept us through.
I'll answer your third question, which is I think important. Disfiguring of the body, actually, if there is a medical legal case, then a post-mortem has to happen. A scar will be there, sutures will be there on the body. Body doesn't get disfigured. The body will look the same, because it will just be a scar with stitches there. So inside, the organs are taken from the inside the body. So the outside doesn't get disfigured, but there is definitely a scar. And if it is a medical legal case, in any case there is going to be a post-mortem. In any case, some organs have to be removed for post-mortem. So you can't escape that, at least in our country where majority of brain deaths are in road traffic accidents. So that is one point which you must remember regarding disfigurement. It is actually, when the eyes are taken out, it's not that the eyes will be taken out and they'll be disfigured. The eyelids will be closed. And after death, after all, the body is going to be cremated or going to be buried. So, if you look at it larger philosophically, then you think that yes, this is the right thing to do at that moment of time.
This is where the role of the coordinators come in, sir. That
Yes.
they need to tell this to the patients and the relatives.
Absolutely. The role of coordinators is to support the family, and that's what they do. I mean, in the limited time which you have, you can't cover every aspect, but yes, the coordinators do that, supporting the family. Even after the donation, they go to the house and counsel the family even then. We do that up to 1 year after, the donation has happened in our foundation.
Yes, Vivek.
Just to add to the point, you mentioned about disfigurement. So many individuals, they develop illnesses which require surgery, which causes the same type of disfigurement, right? I mean, if there is a scar to be had, a person gets very happily a scar for the purpose of getting a surgery done. So, the difference is only that there is a scar now in a person who has already died, and the scar will result as will develop as a result of the organ being donated. Whereas we are happy and we never even think about our bodies being disfigured for our next life when we get any surgical procedure done for any other reason. So I think it's just a matter of context.
Just take 1 more minute, sir. My last point, if possible.
Yeah.
Sir, unfortunately in India, that stratification, sectional stratification is there, poor class, middle class and a rich class, right? So basically the poor and middle class, while this option is given to them, they think the most of their advantage is being given to the richer class, that whatever organs they donate will be given to the richer class. That's one of the reasons they don't donate the organs as well.
So
what can be done?
the process of organ allocation, and that is something which was mentioned in the past also, and there is an organ and tissue transplant authority which has been set up. The responsibility of that authority is to create a transparent wait list depending on the need of the individual rather than the social class of the individual in terms of their priority in terms of getting an organ. So it is, you raise a very important point. It's an important social issue, and as a society we are obliged to maintain a very strong degree of transparency and fairness in organ allocation, so that the person who is most in need and is according to a predefined wait list criteria high on the wait list gets the organ irrespective of his or her social class or socio-economic status.
Sorry,
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, on this. Okay.
Hello, may I ask a question?
Just a minute.
Friend, you have very nice questions. Now, I want to conclude. Number one, what was your question? To whom I will tell regarding donation of my near relatives' brain death organs. Okay. It was a very problem, and now it is also going on a problem. The donor actually, the prospective donor runs here and there, but don't know whom to say. Like bank, single window method is very good. At first, when you are going to withdraw your money, there is you submit your deposit your check, then token, then go to that counter, then you call your token number. Very bad. Now one single window. Now single window is Dr. Aditya Kishore Sarkar. My phone number is 94330-26837. You call me day or night or midnight that my near relative is in ventilation. Doctor says that he is going to be in brain death. I want to donate my near relative's organ. You call me, then after all things will be managed by me. And with me, Mr. Nisha Kumar is there, all our hospitals are there, our surgeons are there, and nephrologists are there, physicians are there, everybody is with me.
Thank you.
So no problem, there will be no problem. And another one, regarding discrimination of recipient, rich, poor, religious discrimination, what my experience I can share. The first one, that Shobhana Sarkar's case, 2 kidneys, one was given to K.R. Roy, another one given to Mr. Firoj. Both were 30 years old. One Hindu girl, young girl, and one Muslim young boy. Next, in case of Swarnendu Roy, 2 kidneys, one was given to one Hindu girl, another one is a Muslim girl. It is going on in our state. Nobody has implied or instructed. It is in our blood. It is in our culture, West Bengal culture. Number 2, unfortunately, I already told that detractors are trying to disturb our good notions to preserve their own vested, interested business, organ trading business. In case of last case, Kaushik Sarkar, so many people are saying, don't donate. We have come to know that organs are going to Apollo Hospital. I am telling the name, Apollo Hospital. Don't give organs to Apollo Hospital. We want to give SSKM. Yes, at that stage there was no decision. The patient was there in Sri Jain Hospital, Howrah, Shibpur, and no other steps were even thought or planned. The detractors are trying. They are trying to make bias, to complicate the thing, so that they be in puzzle. The total procedure may be stopped. They are saying they have been taught, the family members, we want to donate to poor, not to rich persons. What is this? Is poor person's life is life and the rich person's life is not life? We will consider the seriousness or nature of seriousness of the recipient. We don't discriminate poor or rich, Hindu or Muslim, educated or uneducated.
So that means there is a big rationale and there is a monitoring system. You must be happy with that. There are many more questions. Let's, yeah.
Saying, I'm very proud we have doctors like Dr. Sarkar who are so dedicated. I'm grateful to him. I have a question. You know, Dr. Jha had said that Bengal is notorious for kidney sale. Now, the thing is that the person who sells an organ has to be in financial despair to do it. If we put ourselves in his shoes, he probably needs it to feed his family or some such thing. The problem is the touts. Can't we have some noted doctors with the government support, have an organization which can arrange legal transfer for a fee? It is better for the recipient to be alive and buy a kidney than to just die.
This is opening a Pandora's box, but we'll take this. Yeah.
No, this is not opening a Pandora's box. This question can be very simply answered that it's illegal to even act on your suggestion according to the existing Human Organ Transplant Act. Any financial transaction for organ donation is barred by law, which is consistent with global laws. So I don't think we can go.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
My question to Dr. Shah. Strategically, we always find economics is also a big reason, and sometimes people say don't resuscitate. They find
don't what? Don't sorry.
Resuscitate. A patient has suggested the family wants to withdraw the support, or but he is otherwise a suitable donor. So is that a strategic window when we can appeal to the family for donating their organs? And second question, is the donor family has a right of saying that I want to donate to this family or that person?
Family doesn't have a right to choose who is going to be the recipient. Then we'll be in deep trouble.
Yeah.
That's first answer.